Welcome to the Project Management PrepCast, helping you prepare for the PMP exam. Here's your instructor, Cornelius Fichtner.
Hello and welcome to the Project Management PrepCast. I'm your instructor, Cornelius Fichtner. This is the introductory lesson to the PM PrepCast, and I would like to start out by saying thank you. Thank you very much for purchasing the Project Management PrepCast. I personally guarantee that you will be satisfied with what you are going to hear and see. We have put a lot of effort into the training material to ensure that you will get the most benefit out of watching and listening to the individual lessons. In fact, I'm so proud of this product that I give you this guarantee. If you don't like the PM PrepCast for any reason, then please write to our support team and we will refund your purchase price. We will honor your refund request up to 90 days after your order and as long as you haven't taken the final exam for the certificate of completion. For all the details on this, please see the detailed refund policy, which is part of our terms and conditions that you can find on the PrepCast website. To begin, allow me to tell you a little bit about myself, because you and I are on a journey here together, and at the end of this journey I want to see those three letters, PMP, behind your name as well. Originally, I am from Switzerland. I moved to the USA in 2001, became a US citizen in 2010, and now I live in Silverado in California. I've worked as a project manager in Switzerland, Germany, and the US, and I've managed projects for a consulting company, a national supermarket chain, an internet startup company, and for one of the oldest financial services company here in the US. I've managed projects since about 1989, mostly with a focus on traditionally managed projects. I'm a very active member of my local PMI chapter here in Orange County, California, and I was the chapter president in 2007, and I'm still an active volunteer for PMI throughout the world. In August 2005, I launched the Project Management Podcast. This is a free podcast in which I publish regular interviews with project managers from all over the world. At the moment, this podcast has a new lesson every 2 weeks or so. It's a broad mix of topics covering both traditional as well as agile project management approaches. In 2009, I launched the PDU podcast. This is a premium podcast that allows certified project management professionals to earn their professional development units, their PDUs. The PM PrepCast for the PMP exam that you're watching right now was launched in 2006, and in 2013, we launched the Agile PrepCast for the PMI ACP exam. And one thing that should be clear by now is the fact that I enjoy teaching. And I bet that once you see and hear some of these lessons here on the PrepCast, you'll be able to hear how passionate I am. So I should probably apologize because I sometimes get carried away and get all excited and animated and my voice gets loud, but I guess that's also a good thing because that keeps it interesting for you on the other side. I not only teach here on the PrepCast, I'm also a teacher for the exam preparation workshops of my PMI chapter, and I have translated a lot of my classroom experience here into the PrepCast. But enough about me. Let me now introduce the PM PrepCast to you. That way you know what to expect. And here's how we're going to do this. First of all, we're going to review the learning objectives and outcomes. First in the formal PMI required way, and then we'll actually tell you what these learning objectives and outcomes mean for you personally. You also have a responsibility on this journey towards the PMP exam, and we're going to be discussing that. I'll give you an overview, a general overview over the PrepCast. We'll show you how to watch the PrepCast in our customer gateway. This is the easiest and fastest way for you to really access it from anywhere in the world. All you need is a browser. And we're going to talk about how to study with the PM PrepCast. I'm going to give you 4 slides with take actions that you can follow, and you can go through step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and you are off on your journey towards studying for the PMP exam. So let us begin with the formal, maybe somewhat dry introduction of the project management prepcast that we have to do. So our company, OSB International, is a PMI registered education provider, and we follow PMI established quality requirements. In particular, the prepcast is designed following the most current standard of PMI's registered education provider program quality requirements. And in accordance with these quality requirements, each of our courses includes learning goals, learning objectives, and an assessment of these outcomes. The objectives we have for you, and you'll see those on the next slide, they are the intended results of our instructions. They also contain learning outcomes that we want you to achieve so that what you learned is measurable. And together, objectives and outcomes, they describe significant essential learning from this course that you as the learner will have gained and that you can also demonstrate in an assessment at the end of the course. We call this assessment our final exam, but don't worry, it's not a difficult exam. More about that final exam in just a bit. First, let's look at the learning objectives of the Project Management Prepcast. At the conclusion of this course, you will be able to identify the correct application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities in order to meet project requirements as described in the PMBOK guide. You can select the most generally accepted good practices within the project management discipline, and you will be able to state your confidence level to take the PMP or CAPM certification examination. As I have mentioned 2 slides back, PMI's REP program quality requirements, they require that the learning outcomes must be assessed. And this assessment will be done through a formal online test in which we will assess your achievement of the learning outcomes. And this test is our final exam that you already heard about. In this exam, you will have to answer 25 questions in the same multiple choice format as on the real PMP exam. The questions, they represent a cross-section of the concepts about project management that we teach here on the Project Management Prepcast, and only after you pass this assessment will you be able to print your certificate for the contact hours, which is another PMI requirement. But don't worry, the test is not really all that difficult. We will also ask you to fill in a survey in which we want to learn how you liked the Prepcast and how ready you feel to actually take the exam after finishing our course. Together, the final exam and survey, they are our feedback to you so that you can assess yourself how you have done in this course. Alright, enough with the dry look at our course. Let me give you a translation of what these learning goals mean to you and show what you can expect by the end of the Prepcast. First of all, the learning goals mean that you will pass the PMP exam and become a certified project management professional with confidence. Period. This is, of course, our primary target for you. Our course is designed to take you there, to give you the confidence to go and sit and pass the exam. You will also be able to identify your strong and weak tools and techniques and knowledges and skills so that you can study and master them. Just like on any other exam, you will have areas where you are stronger and weaker, and as you follow through the course, you will be able to see those areas where you may need additional study time and review the concepts a few times. And you will learn exactly what you can expect on the PMP exam. We have specific lessons that talk about this. We have interviews with those who have taken the exam before you, and we include pointers for you throughout many of our lessons. Trust me, you will be prepared. Furthermore, you will be more comfortable with the types of questions you will see on the exam. Here we talk about question styles and approaches, and our sample questions will show you what to expect. Then you'll maximize every available minute of your day as study time. This is, of course, at the core of our Project Management PrepCast. You can download all our lessons to your portable device, like your tablet, your smartphone, your laptop computer, and then you can watch and listen to the lessons anytime and everywhere. You can put on your headphones and do housework. You can watch it on the train as you commute to work, and once we even had a student who used a waterproof equipment and studied while he was swimming laps in an Olympic-sized pool. The possibilities really are sheer endless. Of course, you'll also use our exam tips to get a better insight into many aspects of the exam. At the end of most of our lessons, you will hear an exam tip. These tips are about any and all aspects of the exam that we find are important for you to know, and you'll also find those tips in the student workbook. And in the process of all of this, you will become a better project manager. What you learn in our course isn't just theory. You will be able to apply what you learned on your projects, and you should. Applying a technique on your projects will help you to be more successful, both on the projects and on the PMP exam. And by the way, did I already mention that our primary target for you is that you will be able to pass the exam? Of course I did, because I mentioned this as the first item on the previous slide, but I wanted to repeat it to make it clear that there is only one thing that I work for. You will pass the PMP exam. Period. However, I cannot do this on my own. You have a lot of responsibility in this journey as well. First of all, you have to be dedicated to this journey and be willing to invest time and effort in your studies. You have to want to succeed on the exam. Second, I need you to be an active student. That means when you are watching one of our lessons, you give me your full attention. And you're not going to switch over and check your email while I'm talking in the background. You simply cannot be a passive consumer in this. Don't just sit there and let me talk at you. Instead, follow along with the presentation to learn about the concepts that we're teaching. So sit up straight and pay attention, because there will be a test at the end, and we call that the PMP exam. I also suggest that you use additional study materials. In many of our lessons, we have links and ideas for recommended reading that you can go and study if you think that additional information is needed. We also have these links in our student workbook, so you can just click straight through to them from there. Here are two recommendations. First and foremost, you must study the PMBOK guide. And the active word here is you must study. You cannot just simply read it and glance at it and just go over it quickly. You have to study it, possibly even 2 or 3 times, and internalize what the guide says. Second, in the student workbook you also find a chapter on recommended study materials, and I do suggest that you buy yourself a separate PMP exam preparation book. And finally, in order for you to pass the PMP exam, you will have to study hard. I am doing everything from my side to teach you all the tools, techniques, knowledge and skills that you need to know in order to pass the exam. So please, do your part as well and participate in the effort by investing the necessary time and effort in your exam preparation. Let's move on and let me give you an overview of the PrepCast technology content and how to watch the lessons. We use podcasting technology to deliver the PrepCast to you. We do this so that the PrepCast can automatically be synchronized to your portable media player after the download, maybe a tablet or your smartphone or whatever you may be using. With a normal podcast or videocast, you would receive new lessons every every week for download, but here on the PrepCast we have a clearly defined curriculum with a beginning and an ending lesson, and once they have all been recorded, all the lessons are available to you, and you can start watching, listening and learning without having to wait for new lessons to be delivered to you sometime in the future. So this means for you that you should see every single one of our lessons in the software that you are using to access our lessons. As you work your way through the many lessons that the PrepCast offers, you'll see that the PrepCast is primarily a video-based training course, and you might wonder if there's maybe a written transcript of the spoken word, or if you can get access to the PowerPoint presentation slides that we use. Well, we don't provide either. Our training is focused on the video lessons, with a few audio lessons thrown in for good measure, and a transcript of the presentation slides is not available to the students. In each of our lessons, you and I will take a detailed look at project management concepts that you need to know and understand in order to get ready for the PMP exam. On average, our lessons are around 25 minutes long. We cover all project management concepts that PMI describes in the PMP examination content outline. We will review the tools and techniques and the knowledge and skills that you have to be familiar with in order to pass your exam. And the one thing that I promise you is that all our lessons are going to be interesting, engaging, and hopefully you will find them also somewhat entertaining. How you access and watch the Project Management PrepCast is up to you, but on a very high level you have two options. You can download all the lessons and then copy them over and watch them on your portable device. The woman here on the left is using a smartphone, but of course you can also use a tablet PC like an iPad or an Android-based tablet, or really any portable video player like an iPod should work. On the other hand, we also offer the possibility for you to log on to our online customer gateway. You receive a username and password to access this gateway, and just like the businessman here on the right, I recommend that you access the online gateway using your laptop or PC. We have separate tutorials that show you how to download the PrepCast to your smartphone or your tablet, so we won't go into that. But let's take just a quick moment here to look at how you would access the videos via our online customer gateway. So this customer gateway allows you to watch the PrepCast from any internet-connected PC or tablet. The thank you email that we send you right after you purchase the PrepCast contains the link to the gateway as well as your username and password that you're going to have to enter here. Once you are logged in, you will see the Project Management PrepCast videos and documents in a nice list like this one here. Now you simply locate the lesson that you want to watch, click on it, you wait for a few seconds until the first segment has downloaded, and then you can press the play button in your browser and you can watch the video. And as is the case in most browsers, you should be able to press the full screen button so that the video fills the complete screen of your laptop. But I also want to give you a warning about two things that you should never do with the PrepCast if you decide to study on the go. First of all, please don't watch the PrepCast lessons when you should be concentrating on other more important events around you. So, for instance, don't watch a video lesson when you are driving in a car or flying in an airplane. In a situation like this, you can just listen to the audio alone. Also, don't use headphones while you're driving a car, flying your own airplane, or any other activity that requires you to hear your surroundings and requires your full attention. There are dozens of technical solutions that allow you, for instance, to connect your smartphone to the stereo in your car so that you can hear my voice come through the speakers of your car safely. So please, be responsible and only watch our lessons when it is safe for you and your surroundings. And now let's move on to the bit that you have probably been waiting for all along, the bit in which I tell you how to study with the Project Management PrepCast. My first recommendation for you is take the pre-course self self-assessment. This self-assessment will give you a baseline, so you understand how much you know today, and you can sort of gauge which areas you will need additional study in. So do look around for lesson 00.99. This is a PDF document. It contains over 100 questions that will allow you to see which tools and techniques, which knowledge and skills do I know or do I not know, and will require additional study. Like I said, this will give you a baseline. As you go through these questions, please make sure that you use only 1.2 minutes per question, because this is the amount of time that you will have on the real PMP exam. 4 hours, 200 questions, that's 1.2 minutes. And that takes me to my final point of why I want you to start with the pre-course self-assessment. Answering sample questions should be your number one priority as you study. You want to study, answer questions, study, answer questions. This should go hand in hand so that you get used to the style and the type of questions that you're going to be seeing on the exam. Once you have completed your pre-course self-assessment, I want you to familiarize yourself with the material that you have received. The sheer number of available lessons may be a bit overwhelming, so it's best to get to know what you have received. That much said, first we have a number of tutorials that show you how to download and access and watch all our lessons. All of these tutorials can be found in Module 0 of the course. Please watch them so you can find your preferred way of accessing the material. Then take a look at your student workbook. This is a PDF document that you received also as part of the PrepCast. It's also in Module 0. You don't have to read the whole workbook, no, but you should at least look it over, and then you should definitely print those pages that contain the lesson directory. A great way to use this printed lesson directory is to take a green highlighter, and every time that you watch a lesson or go through one of these self-assessment questions, you can highlight it in green, and the greener the printout gets, the better for you. You can watch yourself progress towards completing the course. You also received a username and a password to access our exam discussion forums on the website. So do go ahead and ask your questions about the PMP exam here. A member of our staff or another student even will answer your question. And while you are visiting the website, don't forget to read the lessons learned from other students. We ask everyone who has passed their PMP exam to please come back here and tell everyone how they studied. In this way, others, like you, who are at the start of their studies, they can learn from everyone else's experience. It's one of the best ways to learn about the exam. So please do stop by at pmprepcast.com/LL, that stands for Lessons Learned, and start reading what others have to say. Now that you have taken the pre-course self-assessment, familiarized yourself with the material, it's time to get started with your studies. And here I recommend that you begin by watching all lessons whose numbers end in .00, like L05.00, Project Scope Management Overview 6.00, Time Management Overview 9.00, Human Resources Management Overview. You get the point. All the overviews. These lessons will give you a good start into your journey and lay a solid foundation for your studies through the PMBOK guide, as well as all the material that you need to know about on a high level, the 10,000 foot level, the overview level. Once you've gone through the overview lessons, then I want you to go straight to module number 70. This module is all about the PMP examination content outline. I think we have about 8 lessons there that take you skill by skill, principle by principle, practice by practice, through all the knowledge that you will need to have for the exam. By going through these lessons early on in your studies, you will hear about all the items that you need to know for the exam. You'll get introduced to the language that PMI uses on the exam, and you get a really good feel for the topics that the exam will be testing you on. And now that you have the basics of project management and the basics of the exam internalized, well, you can go back to Module 1 and study your way through all the lessons. Oh, by the way, you don't have to do it this way. You could simply begin with the first lesson and then just watch them in order from 1 to 99.99. Or you can watch them backwards if you prefer to do it that way. Or you can decide that, well, delegation sounds really interesting because I need to be delegating on my project tomorrow, so I could learn about that first. Well, and that is the lesson that you're going to start with. As long as you watch every lesson of the Project Management PrepCast, it doesn't matter in which order you watch them, you will learn all the knowledge you need. Any road you choose should really take you there. Before we move on to the fourth and final take action, I want to place a quick disclaimer here that has to do with the sample questions. In many of our lessons towards the end, we give you sample questions, suggestions of what we find online, questions you may find in books. Well, they're just that. They're just samples. You will not see these exact questions on the PMP exam. They're just our way sort of acquainting you with the way of thinking about these questions, more than being a representative cross-section of what you need to know. My recommendation is get yourself a good PMP exam simulator. And of course, we do recommend our very own PM exam simulator, which you can find at pmexamsimulator.com. And then the next thing I want you to do as you study, I want you to go out and get more details, because one thing I need to point out here is the fact that the action steps that we have seen on the previous slides, they're pretty high level. They're at the 10,000 foot view, and for those among you who are like me metric, that's about 3 kilometers and about 50 meters or so. If you would like more details and more steps of how to approach your studies in general and how to approach usage of the PM PrepCast, then please watch lesson 00.33. It's called Key Exam Activities. We go much more in depth of how you can approach your studies for the PMP exam. And last but not least, if you need any technical support, then you can use the following 2 resources. You can go to pmhelpdesk.com, where we have an extensive FAQ under the PM PrepCast section. Or if you need any technical support, then please do write to us at support@pmprepcast.com. We will answer your questions from Monday to Friday, and it usually does take us 1 business day to respond. And with that, we have come to the end of this first lesson. I wish you much success on your road to your certification. It's now time for Justine to say, and I say, until next time.
PMP is the place to be.